All right, can you hear me and see me okay? All right, looks like it's working. Cool. All right, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. All right, looks like it's working. Cool. All right, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. All right, looks like it's working. Cool. All right, sorry about that. Some technical. Can you still hear me now? I just turned down the volume because I was hearing myself echoing. Okay. I think what I'm going to do. All right. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so like I said, there was some technical difficulties, so I apologize for the wait on that. So in case anyone doesn't know me, my name is Kat, and I will be leading the practice today. So I did create a playlist on Spotify, so if you're interested in following along with the music, you're welcome to find my playlist. It is under SAT, as in Saturday, S-A-T, YB, as in Yoga Buzz. So I guess I can give you a minute or two to maybe log on to your Spotify and find that. Yeah, I love creating playlists. I think music and yoga go so well together, and I find it quite healing for myself. So I always like creating a playlist to try to share that joy with other people. But you're always welcome to even have your own playlist to go along, or maybe not a playlist at all. Maybe you're a person who just prefers no music, and that's fine too. It's whatever brings you the most joy, in my opinion. All right, so I have some blocks here. I'll probably use these throughout the practice, or at least offer them if you have some. You're always welcome to use other props throughout the practice, such as a bolster, or even a pillow. Pillows are a great substitute as bolsters as well. So for today's practice, I'm going to lead us through a body scan first. I typed mine out just because it's kind of long, so it's hard to try to memorize that off the top of my head. So that's how we're going to begin today, and then I'm going to lead you or guide you through some gentle movement, or mindful movement is another way of describing it, and then we'll end with a meditation. What I did is I wrote down some various terms from the Buddhist prayer flags. So I was just going to guide us through that in our Shavasana or final resting pose. So you can just lay there or rest as you wish, and then I'll just lead us through that. All right, so I think I've given people enough time to probably get together and get settled. So I invite you to just find a seated or maybe even laying down on your mat. Just find a position where you feel like you can become grounded in the practice, or as we call centering in yoga. So I invite you to just find a comfortable spot, whatever that looks like for you. If you're laying down and it's maybe more comfortable, you can even bend the knees and keep the soles of the feet on the mat. You may feel that's better on the low back, just as an option. And then your hands could be resting gently on your lap or on the sides. Allow your eyes to close if that feels comfortable for you, or to even remain open with a soft gaze. Or maybe even taking the gaze down towards the floor or mat beneath you. And take several long, deep breaths, breathing in fully and exhaling slowly. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth. Feel your stomach expand on an inhale and relax and let go as you exhale. Begin to let go of the noises around you. Begin to shift your attention from outside to inside yourself. If you are distracted by sounds in the room, Simply notice this and bring your focus back to your breathing. Now slowly bring your attention down to your feet. Begin observing the sensations in your feet. You might want to wiggle your toes a little, feeling your toes against your socks if you're wearing any. Just notice without judgment. You might imagine sending your breath all the way down to your feet, as if the breath is traveling through the nose, to the lungs, and through the abdomen, all the way down to your feet. And then think about that traveling all the way back up again out through your nose and lungs. Perhaps you don't feel anything at all, and that is fine too. Just allow yourself to feel the sensation of not feeling anything, if that's the case. When you are ready, move your attention up to your ankles, to your calves, to the knees, and the thighs. Observe the sensations you are experiencing throughout your legs. Breathe into and breathe out of the legs. If your mind begins to wander during this exercise, gently notice this without judgment and bring your mind back to noticing the sensations in your legs. If you notice any discomfort, pain, or stiffness, try not to judge this, just try to acknowledge that it's there and just simply notice it. Observe how all sensations rise and fall, shift and change moment to moment. Notice how no sensation is permanent. Just observe and allow the sensations to be in the moment, just as they are. Breathe into and out from the legs. Then on to the next exhale, allow the legs to dissolve in your mind and move the sensations to your lower back and pelvis. Softening and releasing as you breathe in and out, slowly move your attention up to your mid-back and upper back. Maybe just become curious about the sensations you're noticing there. You may become aware of the sensations in the muscle, maybe even temperature or points of contact with the mat beneath you. With each exhale, you may let go of tension you are carrying. And then very gently shift your focus to your stomach and all the internal organs there. Perhaps you notice the feeling of clothing, maybe the process of digestion or the belly rising and falling with each breath. If you notice opinions arising about these areas, just try to gently let these go and return to noticing the sensations. As you continue to breathe, bring your awareness to the chest and heart region and just notice your heartbeat. Observe how the chest rises during the inhale and how the chest falls during the exhale. Let go of any judgments that may arise. On the next exhale, shift the focus to your hands and fingertips. See if you can channel your breathing into and out of this area. You may even want to expand the fingers away from each other on the inhale, and then on the exhale, bring the fingers back closer together. See if you can channel your breathing into and out of this area as if you were breathing into and out from your hands. That's just a suggestion. You may want to find another way of doing that. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the sensations in your hands. And then on the next exhale, shift the focus and bring your awareness up into your arms. Observe the sensations or lack of sensations that may be occurring there. You may notice some difference between the left arm and the right arm. As you exhale, you may experience the arms soften and release tension. Just continue to breathe and then shift the focus to the neck, to the shoulder, and then even the throat region. This is the area where we often hold tension. Be with the sensations here. It could be tightness, rigidity, or even just feel like holding. You may notice the shoulders moving along with the breath. Let go of any thoughts or even stories you are telling about this area to yourself. As you breathe, you may feel tension rolling off. On the next exhale, shift your focus and direct your attention to the scalp, to the head, and then to the face. Just observe all the sensations occurring there. Notice the movement of the air as you breathe into or out of the nostrils or mouth. As you exhale, you might notice the softening of any tension you may be holding. And now, let your attention expand out to include the entire body as a whole. Bring into the awareness the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet. Just feel the gentle rhythm of the breath as it moves throughout the entire body. As you come to the end of this practice, take a full deep breath, taking in all the energy of this practice. Exhale fully. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and return your attention to this present moment. As you become fully alert and awake, consider setting the intention that this practice of building awareness will benefit everyone you come into contact with today, whatever family members that might be in your household. All right, and with that, we're gonna begin some gentle movement. If you wish, you can hit play on the playlist. All right, so I'm just gonna move out my little heat pack here. I love using a heat pack to just warm myself up. It's a little bit chilly in my sunroom. All right, so on an inhale, we're gonna raise the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching the hands up. Exhale, let the hands float down to the sides. 2 more times, just like that, matching your breath with the movement. Last time here. All right, keeping the left hand down to the side. Inhale, reaching up with the right hand. Exhale, just bending to the left. Trying to keep in mind to keep that right hip down. And then here, you're thinking about reaching the fingertips over to the left. The gaze can look down to the mat, maybe even up towards your ceiling under that right arm. If you wish, you can walk out the left hand for a deeper stretch. On the inhale, coming back up to center. Exhale, shifting sides, keeping the right hand down. Inhale, reaching up with the left. Exhale over to the right. Same thing here. If you want to feel a deeper stretch, make sure to keep that left hip down as you walk out that right hand. Gaze can look under the left arm, maybe even down towards the mat. Inhale, come back up to center. We're going to do that one more time on each side. Inhale, reaching up with the right. Exhale over to the left. And then same thing here. Or maybe it felt better keeping that hand closer into that hip. Just do whatever feels good for your body. Forgot to mention that earlier, I think. Just do what, feels good for you. And try to avoid any pain. If something feels like it's causing pain, try to back off the stretch. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower the right. Inhale, reaching up the left. Exhale over to the right. And one side might feel different than the other, and know that that's okay. Inhale, come back up to center. Lower that left hand down. All right, on the inhale, we're going to reach those arms out wide, forming a T with the body, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the right arm under the left. And then the fingers can just be, coming back towards the backs of the shoulders here. Trying to lift up those elbows a little bit higher. You might feel a more intense stretch here in the shoulders. And then on the exhale, we're just going to fold forward here. So bringing the elbows down towards the stomach, the chin coming in towards the chest. Inhale, coming back up, reaching those arms wide. And then the opposite arm going over this time. Lift up those elbows on an inhale, then exhale, folding forward. Inhale, come back up to center. And then on an exhale, just let those hands come down to the sides. Inhale, reaching the hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, let those hands come down to the sides. Inhale, reaching those hands back up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Here, I want you to think about keeping the thumbs in towards the sternum, even touching the sternum here. And then on an exhale, we're going to just turn the torso to the left. And then if you want, you can open those arms wide. Gaze can even look back towards the left. And then on an inhale when you're ready, bringing those palms back to center, coming forwards. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, lower those hands to the sides. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, bringing those hands to heart center. On your next exhale, you're going to turn the torso to the right. And then if you wish, you can open the arms up wide. Gaze looking over the right shoulder, if it feels okay on the neck. And then on an inhale, coming back to center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, letting those hands float down to the side. We're going to find some seated cat-cow here. So I'm going to turn to my side, just so you can see maybe how the spine looks. So you can let the hands rest just above the knees, maybe even a little bit higher up on the thighs. Then on the inhale, we're just going to draw the chest forward and then up. Shoulders coming back, opening those pec muscles in here. Is maybe even looking up towards the ceiling. And then on an exhale, we're going to go the opposite direction. So you're going to round those shoulders, rounding the spine here, creating that C shape. And if you want, you can even intertwine the fingers and push the palms away for a more intense stretch. On an inhale, creating that cow pose here. And then on an exhale, finding that cat pose. 2 more times, just like that, matching your breath with the movement here. And then when you're ready, we're going to meet together with a neutral spine. All right, I'm going to take my socks off. Like I said, it was kind of cold in here, but now I'm already warming up. Just that way I can feel a little bit more grip on my mat. All right, so I like to use a blanket when I'm seated on my mat, so I'm going to move that to the side. And we're going to find our way into a tabletop position. And by tabletop, just meaning the knees generally under the hips, and then the hands and wrists under those shoulders. And then we're going to find that cat-cow pose here too. So on an inhale, you're going to reach that chest down and then forward, that tailbone coming up, gaze looking up. Exhale, round, tucking that tailbone, rounding that spine, maybe even bringing that chin in towards the chest. Inhale, finding that cow pose again here. Exhale into cat. Inhale, coming back into cow. Exhale into cat. And then when you're ready, coming back to a neutral spine here, we're going to bring the knees out towards the long edges of the mat. Big toes can touch. And then on the exhale, we're going to find child's pose here. Inhale, coming back up to tabletop. We're going to find thread the needle here. So you can bring that left hand under the face as you inhale, reaching up with the right. And then exhale, bringing that right arm behind the left, the shoulder coming down. And then if you wish, you can walk or extend the left arm long. And then when you're ready on the next inhale, bringing that left hand closer into the face. Inhale, reaching that right arm all the way back up. Exhale, lower. So you're going to bring that right hand under the face. Inhale, reaching up with the left. And then exhale, threading that shoulder in on this side. And then if you wish, you can extend that right arm long. Gaze looking under that right arm. And then when you're ready on an inhale, bringing that right hand close into the face again, reaching the left hand up, exhale, lowering that hand down. All right, so we're gonna find our way into standing here. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna bring the hands a little bit further away from the face. So just as far as feels comfortable, as long as you feel like you can grip the mat here, pushing down through those palms, tucking the toes here, and then lifting up the knees a few centimeters off the mat. And then on an exhale, you're going to push the chest towards the thighs, and then just try to straighten those knees as far as is comfortable. Finding our downward facing dog here. And you can pedal out the feet. And by pedaling out the feet, I mean just bending one leg while the other straightens, and then switching sides. And this is a way of finding a calf stretch here in those legs. And then on the next inhale, we're going to come to a high plank. So the shoulders are now over those wrists. Lower the knees down to the mat, keeping those elbows in tight. Exhale, lower down. Soles of the feet pushing in towards the mat as we inhale, lifting the chest up, elbows coming back. And then exhale, lower down, tucking those toes. Try to push yourself up to the high plank. And then exhale, finding your way back into that down dog. And when you're ready, walking those hands to meet the feet for that forward fold. Knees can be bent. Inhale, slowly coming all the way up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, finding that forward fold here, bending at that waist. And then inhale, coming up for that halfway lift. Exhale, finding that forward fold. Take an inhale here, letting that crown of the head try to reach down towards the mat. And then exhale, walking those hands back to that high plank. And then this time, instead of bringing the knees down to the mat, I mean, you can if you want, but one way to find a little more intensity here, finding our chaturanga, so keeping those elbows in tight, making sure those shoulders are over those wrists. Exhale, lower all the way down. Untuck the feet, keeping those elbows in tight. Inhale, lifting up for that cobra. Exhale, lower down. Tucking those toes, and on the next exhale, finding your way into that child's pose. Inhale, coming up to that tabletop position, adjusting those hands, tucking those toes. Exhale into your down dog. This time we're going to walk the feet to meet the hands. So you're going to be at the front of your mat. Inhale, up for that halfway lift. Thinking about that back, trying to stay flat. Elbows in tight. Exhale, finding your forward fold here. Remember, it's okay to bend those legs. It can be pretty intense on the hamstrings. And then on the inhale, coming up for the halfway lift. Exhale into that forward fold. Keeping a bend in those knees as we inhale, rising all the way up. Gaze coming up to reach those and look up towards those hands. Exhale, hands coming down to heart center. I'm going to turn to face this way. On an inhale, reach those hands up, and then exhale, let those hands float down to the sides. So looking down at the feet, I want you to think about bringing the feet a little wider than hip width distance. And then once you're here, reach those hands behind you, maybe clasping them together, or if it feels better, you can even let them rest on the low back here. And then as you're ready on an exhale, lowering that chest down just as far as it feels comfortable to find that hamstring stretch here in both those feet. If your blocks are close, you're always welcome to reach for them, using them to rest on, or if it feels better, you can let the hands come down towards the mat, crown of the head resting down towards the mat. Or you can even bring those hands back up behind the low back and even reach those hands away from you, finding that stretch in the shoulders here. And then on the next inhale, we're going to let those hands rest down, slowly coming all the way up. Gaze coming up last. And then you're going to heel and toe the feet back in until they're underneath the hips here. Inhale, reaching those hands back up. And then exhale, hands to heart center. I'm just going to adjust the camera here because it looks like it might have tipped a little bit. That way you can see my hands. All right, inhale, reaching the hands up. Exhale, finding that forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale into that forward fold. Keeping a bend in those knees as we inhale, rising all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we're going to bring or find an IT band stretch here. So we're going to bring the right foot behind the left. The left hand can rest up on that hip here. Inhale, reaching up with the right. And then we're going to exhale over to the left. That hand can even rest down to the side of that leg. Gaze can look down. And inhale, coming back up and switching sides. So this time the left foot coming behind the right. Inhale, reaching up with the left. Exhale over to the right. Gaze can look down towards the mat. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, bringing that left foot underneath the hips. This time we're going to find a little bit more intensity on that stretch. So we're going to bring the right foot behind the left. And then inhale, reaching up with the right. And as we exhale over to the left, you can even use that left hand, wrapping it around that right wrist, and then just pulling just gently until you feel more intense stretch here. Inhale, come back up to center, switching sides. Left foot coming behind the right. Inhale, lifting up that left arm. Exhale over to the right side. This time reaching that left wrist, using the right hand to just guide it over for a little more intensity here. Inhale, come back to center, adjusting that foot. And then we're going to find our ways back down to the mat. Inhale, reaching the hands up, palms touch. Exhale, finding that forward fold here. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale, lowering the hands down to the mat. You can step or hop the feet back. You can lower the knees if it feels too intense on that low back, or you can find that chaturanga we found earlier, keeping those elbows in as we slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck those feet, so the soles or top parts of the feet are pushing into the mat, hands in close to the chest. Inhale, lifting that chest up. You maybe even want to come up a little bit higher into that downward facing dog. Finding that stretch in the abdominals. And exhale, lower down. Tucking those toes. Exhale, finding your child's pose here. Inhale, coming back to that tabletop we found earlier. This time we're going to step the right foot forward here. Keeping that left hand down on the mat. We're going to inhale, reaching that right hand up. Finding that twist here. And then exhale, lower that right hand down. And then inhale, reaching that right arm back up. And if you want, you can even try to bend that left knee, reaching that left foot. Finding that twist here. And if you have a block, you can even put that block forward here on that left hand. So it's bringing the floor closer to you, finding that twist, gaze looking behind. Then exhale, adjusting the block, letting that left foot back down, bringing that right knee back, and then exhale, finding your child's pose here. Inhale, coming back to that tabletop, and when you're ready, stepping that left foot forward this time, keeping that right hand down on the mat as we inhale, reaching the left up. Exhale, lower that left hand back down. Inhale, reaching that left hand back up. And when you're ready on an exhale, maybe bending the right foot this time. Keeping or opening up that left shoulder here. Gaze looking back behind. If this feels too intense on the knees, you can always use a blanket or double fold the mat here. And by that I mean you can just like flip the side of the mat. Then exhale, let that leg lower, bringing that left hand down to the mat, bringing that left knee back in to meet the right, and then exhale, finding your child's pose here. Inhale, coming back to that tabletop position. And then when you're ready, stepping that right foot forward. This time tucking that left foot, lifting that left leg up, Keeping that left hand down on the mat or maybe even using the block. Inhale, reaching that right arm up for that twist. Then exhale, lower that hand back down. And then we're just going to rock back on that left foot. And then exhale, step that left foot forward, keeping a bend in those knees as we inhale, rising all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, finding that forward fold. This time we're going to step back with the right foot. I'm going to find a gentle twist here on that left. And then on exhale, lowering that left foot down, rocking on that right foot. Now on exhale, stepping forward with the right, keep a bend in those knees as we inhale, rising all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, finding that forward fold again. Inhale, halfway lift, keeping that back flat. Exhale into your forward fold. Step or hop those feet back. Staying here in that high plank or even lowering those knees if it feels better. And then exhale, lowering all the way back down. Untuck those feet. Inhale up to your cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhale, lower down, tucking those feet. Exhale into your child's pose. Inhale, back to tabletop, adjusting those hands, tucking those toes. Exhale up to your down dog. Inhale, reaching that right leg up, trying to keep that hip facing down towards the mat. Exhale, step that right foot forward. Inhale, coming up to that crescent pose. So that crescent pose, you're on the ball of that back foot. Arms engaged here. Exhale, lowering those hands down to frame that right foot. And when you're ready, exhale, stepping that left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale, coming back up, hands touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. Exhale, finding your forward fold. Step or hop those feet back. Shoulders over those wrists. Exhale, lowering all the way back down, up to your cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhale, lower down, tucking those toes. And then all the way up to that high plank. And then exhale into your down dog. This time on the inhale, lifting that left leg up tall. Exhale, stepping that left foot forward. Adjusting those feet here if you need to for that balance. And inhale, finding that crescent pose on this side. You might even feel more of a stretch on one side than the other. And the quadriceps here. Arms engaged here. Then on an exhale, lower those hands down. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, stepping that right foot forward to meet the left. Bending those knees as we inhale, rising all the way up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here to really just check in with the breath now that we've been moving a little bit more. So thumbs in towards the sternum still. Maybe even taking a moment to close the eyes here. Really checking in with that breath. And then when you're ready, open those eyes back up. Reaching those hands up on an inhale. Exhale, letting those hands just rest onto the hips here. And then shifting the weight so it's in that left foot, coming up into the toes of the right. And then on an inhale, I want you to think about lifting, shifting that weight into that left, lifting that right leg up, keeping a bend, or 90-degree bend in the hip and that knee. And then on an exhale, slowly try to step that right foot behind you. Into that crescent pose we found earlier. Inhale, reaching those hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands up. And then on an exhale, we're going to open to that warrior two pose. So arms are going to be long. Think about those fingers going in opposite directions here. Gaze looking over that middle finger of the left. And then on the next inhale, I want you to spin on that back foot, coming all the way back into that crescent pose. Exhale, lower those hands down to the hips. Maybe find a little bit of a bounce here, as long as it feels okay. And then when you're ready on the exhale, stepping that right foot forward. Inhale, reaching those hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. This time we're going to do this on the opposite side, so shifting the weight into that right foot. Come up into the toes of the left. Maybe even keeping a bit of a bend in that balanced leg, the leg that's stabilizing you. Then on an inhale, lifting that left leg up, keeping that bend in that knee. Maybe even flexing the foot here. And then on an exhale, slowly extending that right leg back. Inhale, reaching the arms up here. Exhale, bringing those hands back down into heart center. Inhale, reaching those hands back up. I know I changed a little bit there. Exhale, opening up into that warrior two on this side. And you know, some people get really finicky about how they do their warrior two. So one way to look at alignment here is thinking about if you were to draw a line from that back of the heel or that front foot all the way back, you want it generally going into the middle of the arch of that back foot. And then again, really extending those fingers in opposite directions here. Keep bending that front leg. Generally, you want it over the ankle, and that's just because it's the most supportive for generally speaking. But if that doesn't feel good, you're welcome to adjust as needed here. Gaze looking down that middle finger of that front hand here. And then when you're ready, spinning on that back foot, lifting that left arm all the way back up to that crescent pose here. And then exhale, lowering those hands down to frame that right foot. And when you're ready, exhale, stepping that left foot forward, keeping bending those knees. We inhale, rising all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's take a moment to just shake out those legs here. Kind of getting intense sometimes on those legs, right? All right, we're going to find a hamstring stretch here. So if you feel like you even want to use blocks, you're always welcome to do that. Inhale, reaching those hands up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. And by the block, I mean we're going to shift the weight into that left leg, coming up into the toes of the right. And then to find, sometimes people like using a block under them just so they feel a little bit more like you're at least activating the muscles here of that leg. And then when you're ready, inhale, lifting up that right leg, keeping a bend in that leg. So if I turn this way, yep. And then you maybe even feel like this is enough of a stretch. You could at least try to maybe reach the opposite hand, so the left hand coming down to the right foot. And then if you're ready, you can try to extend the opposite leg, so the right leg. Or maybe you feel like it's enough of a stretch, you can keep a bend in that leg. Hamstrings can get tight because they're a two-joint muscle that crosses more than one joint, similar to like the calf muscle. So if you're close to a wall, you can even just rest one finger. That'll help with balance. So for example, this little shelf I have here, I could just shifting off my mat, try that pose again this way. So, you know, using the wall or even a shelf as a prop, as long as it's sturdy. And then when you're ready, bringing that knee back in, close to the chest, exhale, lower. And then switching sides here. Shifting the weight into that right leg. And then when you're ready, inhale, raising that left leg up, keeping that bend in the hip and the knee. And then trying to reach that toe, or maybe even wrapping your fingers a little bit closer under the other toes that are there. And when you're ready on an exhale, extending the left leg long. Like I said, if you have something close, just one finger. Or when you're looking at something, trying to hold balance, try to look at something at eye level that won't move, or maybe even a few feet in front of you. And then when you're ready, exhale, lower down. Take a moment to shake it out here. And I know we started a little bit late, so we're going a little bit longer to make up on that time. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. And then when you're ready, finding that mountain pose, so feet under those hips, rolling those shoulders up, back, and down, palms facing forward. Then on the inhale, reaching those hands up above you. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we're going to try something a little bit different, similar to what we just did, but we're going to try to find a twist on that. So when you're ready, shifting the weight into the left leg, coming up into the toes of the right. Inhale, lifting that right leg up, keeping that bend in the knee. And then maybe you just want to bring that left hand in front of that shin here, and then find a twist this way. So on an inhale, reaching that right hand back behind you. So I'll show you this way. And then if you want, you maybe can bring that gaze to look behind you, facing that right hand. Or if you want to find that hamstring stretch, reaching those toes, maybe bringing that gaze back first, reaching that back, maybe the gaze looks back behind you. Inhale, bringing the knee back in. Exhale, let it all shake out. So shifting sides here, I'm going to try to find the same movement on the other side. So shifting the weight into the, what was it we just did? All right, so the right leg, sometimes left and right can get really hard when you're, speaking. All right, so shifting the weight into the right leg, coming up into the toes of the left. Inhale, reaching that left leg up, keeping a bend in that knee and the hip. And then maybe reaching that right hand to that shin. And then on an inhale, reaching that left arm back behind you. Then maybe looking back towards that hand. Maybe bringing the gaze back to the front as you reach the toes of the left. And then exhale, straighten the left leg. And then maybe try bringing that gaze behind you. Remember to breathe. And then inhale, bring that knee back in. Exhale, lower that leg and just shake it all out. Let those shoulders roll, shoulders up, back and down. Inhale up, exhale lower. Let those shoulders do some circles here. I don't even know what track we're on for the song. If you're following along the playlist, it looks like we're on I Am Loving You, so that Avett Brothers song. Really pretty song. All right, and take a moment to let those shoulders relax. Finding that strong mountain pose here, so feet under the hips, arms out, palms facing forward. Maybe taking a moment to close the eyes and acknowledge the breath here. On an inhale, open those eyes back up, arms coming up, palms touch, exhale, hands to heart center. And then finding your way to a seated position, bending those knees, coming down to a squat position. If this feels too intense, you can always put some blocks underneath you. Or if you want to work those legs, open up those hips, you can take those blocks away, keeping those thumbs in close. And then just taking a moment to really just let those hips open up here. And then if you want, you can even use those elbows to open up. So when you're using the left elbow to open up that left hip, you're moving that chest to that side. So on inhale, exhale back. Inhale to the right, exhale to the front. Inhale to the left, exhale back to the front. Inhale to the right, and inhale back. Bring those palms back together. And then when you're ready, finding your way down to a full seated position. Legs extended long. Finding staff pose here. So if you're thinking about engaging all those leg muscles here, keeping maybe even using blocks for your hands. I have a friend who mentioned one time that her hands felt like she couldn't really place them all the way down to the mat. And so, that was something that was a learning experience for me. So using those blocks maybe to hold you up, just as an option. All right, so hands or palms facing all the way down, pushing that pressure into the mat. And then inhale, think about the spine lifting up tall here. Flexing those feet, so engaging those leg muscles. And by flexing, I mean bringing the toes closer to the body. Think about spine lifting up here, all the way to the crown of the head. And then exhale, relax. All right, finding butterfly pose here. Bring the soles of the feet to touch in front of you. Hands can rest around the ankles, the shins, or maybe even up a little bit higher, just wherever you're feeling that stretch in the inner leg muscles here, those inner thigh muscles. So on an inhale, lifting that chest up, and then letting the knees just rest out to the sides here. Gaze looking forward. And when you're ready, relax. And then we're going to find our way into, we're going to find a stretch here in those back muscles here. By back, I mean back of the legs and the glutes here. So you can even just bring that left ankle across just above that right knee. And then as you're ready on an inhale, just sliding that right foot forward on your mat until you feel that stretch in that back pocket area of the left glutes here. You might even feel it all the way down to the backs of the thighs and those hamstrings. The closer you bring in that left foot to the chest, the more intense the stretch will be. So if it feels too intense, just slide that right foot back down. I like to face my fingers away so that way I'm opening up my shoulders as well. But you can put your hands wherever they feel most supportive for you. Remembering to breathe here. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, sliding that right foot down. Whew, that can be a pretty intense stretch. All right, so switching sides here. So bringing that right ankle above that left knee. And then when you're ready, inhale, slowly lifting up or sliding that left foot forward. And then you might notice one side feels more intense than the other. And know that that's normal. The body has a way of compensating. So, and by that I mean it's going to find ways to use other muscle groups sometimes, just to make it easier on you. So sometimes you have to, if you're looking for more of that challenge, you've got to just accept that sometimes it's what the body does and know that it's okay. And then sometimes certain poses take a little bit more work or just a little more time. And I think the important thing to remember is knowing the intention of why you're doing something, right? And knowing not to push something when your body's not ready for it. I just think that's part of the yoga practice, right? That tenet of ahimsa, self-compassion, compassion for yourself and compassion for others, and doing no harm, non-violence. And then when you're ready, exhale, slowly lowering that left foot down. Woo. All right, and then rolling those shoulders up, back and down. Creating some circles maybe here, feels better on the shoulders. And then when you're ready, finding your way down onto the mat. So slowly, you can bring those arms in front of you, thumbs pointing up, so palms facing in towards each other, tucking that tailbone as you exhale, slowly lowering all the way down. Or you can just go down onto your back, no pressure here. And then when you're ready, bringing those knees into the chest. Double knees to chest, as we call it in physical therapy, using those hands to wrap around those shins and then rocking from side to side. Exhale, extending that right leg long. Here you can always find that twist, so bringing or guiding that left knee over to the right side with that right hand. Left arm can extend long, and then maybe looking over that left shoulder here. Then inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, switching sides. So I have this little contraction here. In case you're wondering what that is, it's a bar that I can use to do pull-ups and tricep dips and all that. I'm trying to do pull-ups daily. Pull-ups are tough, man. I got to say that. All right, extending the right arm long, using that left hand to guide that right knee over for that gentle twist. Gaze can look over that right shoulder. Inhale, coming back to center, rocking from side to side. And then I'm going to go and grab that sheet of paper I mentioned earlier for our Shavasana. So you can find any other pose you really enjoy doing before you end the practice while I grab that sheet here. So I'm going to sit up as you're resting in whatever pose feels good for you. And I'll give you a few seconds to find that pose that feels good before we end our practice. And then once you're ready, find stillness on your mat in your resting position. And then I'm going to guide us through this. So you can keep the eyes closed or soften the gaze, similar to how we began our practice. Peace. To bring peace to the earth, strive to make your own peaceful. Happiness. When one's spiritual needs are met by an untroubled inner life, happiness comes when your work and words are of benefit to yourself and others. Courage. Not the absence of fear or despair, but the strength to conquer them. Love. An inspired form of giving. Love breathes life into the heart and brings grace to the soul. Tranquility, the peace that comes when energies are in harmony, relationships are in balance. Wisdom, knowledge, intuition, and experience combine to guide us in thought and deed. It's just taking a moment to think about those terms and the meanings behind them. And then on an inhale, bringing the hands to heart center, or maybe even just if you're laying down, letting the left hand rest on the heart and the right hand rest on the low belly. And then finding one thing that you are grateful for in your life. I like to end with a gratitude practice. So just finding that one thing, whatever it is for you. And then I'm going to leave you with words, peace, love, and yoga. Thanks for joining me. I know we probably went a little bit over than what I was planning, so I apologize if you were in a hurry to get something else done today. Anyways, thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful day.